Chicago, Detroit. Detroit minus 125. Home favorite, total 5.5, pretty much across the board. Rotation is 61-62. In this game, Blackhawks losing last night in overtime to the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2. Really, I don't know how the hell you can fall asleep like Chicago did at the start of that overtime. Just allow just a clear break. There you go. Penalty shot, bing, bang, boom, game over. And that's exactly what ended up happening in that hockey game. Just a tough time right now for Joel Quenneville. He's doing everything he can to get this team shaken up and waking up and all of that stuff, and it's just not happening. He's changing lines. He's shifting his defensive pairs, and what's working? Nothing so far. So can they get it done here tonight? Second night of back-to-backs against Detroit. I don't love Detroit. I'm not laying a price with Detroit, but boy, Chicago's got issues right now. This is a clear, I want nothing to do with this game, not touching it with a 10-foot pole, but I know our resident Hawks fan, Alex B. Smith, has a take on Chicago. Hopefully he can rant about this team because I know he's starting to get more and more frustrated with them. Maybe this is a good time for an Alex B. Smith rant about his Chicago Blackhawks here as they prepare to take on Detroit tonight. Alex, what do you think about Chicago? What can be done to fix what's going on?
Well, before their bye week, they played Detroit at home on a Sunday at 11:30, which is always a horrible time. The fans aren't awake. The team's usually not awake. The Hawks play like shit on Sundays for a very, very long time. I don't know what it is. There's rumors to it from back in the day, but whatever have you. It's a game they should be fired up for because they only play Detroit 2 times a year. We're not in the same conference anymore, not in the same division, but the fans still hate Detroit. The players know the history between these two clubs, and they laid an absolute egg and got shut out at home 4-0 on that game in Sunday. And then you'd think they would want to go into that break fired up, with a win. They've been playing pretty good before that. They go into the break. They come out of the break. They look even worse. They played against Tampa Bay a couple of nights ago, as I mentioned earlier. They should have had a 1-0 lead with Patrick Kane scoring. It was a clear goal, and they waved it off. They said it hit the post. You watch the replay. It clearly went in. It clearly crossed the line. Should have been a goal. Should have been 1-0 lead. Instead, goes back. It's scoreless. There was a delayed penalty where Jeff Glass loses sight of the puck. He basically touches the puck, and it should have been whistled dead. Instead, it ends up being a redirect on Chris Kunitz's stick. He scores 1-0 to Tampa Bay. They win 2-0. So you look at the game last night, which should have been, it was a sloppy game. Both teams committed a ton of penalties that just weren't called. There was a ton of missed shots. The Hawks hit 5 posts that could have a half inch again, they go in. So they're getting, either they're playing like crap or they're getting bad luck or they're getting bad calls. So everything's going wrong for them right now. The best thing they can do is to try and play as much of a perfect game as possible. Now you're going into Little Caesars Arena for the first time officially, playing a rival, getting ready for a break. At this point, I don't see the Hawks, like I said, I don't see them getting in the playoffs. I said this, a month ago. This team is not geared up for a playoff run. They have too many issues on defense. The goaltending issues a mess. Corey Crawford, who knows what's going on with Corey Crawford? He's skating on the ice. Will he be back for the regular season? I don't know. And then if he does come back, who gets sent down? I'd like to think it'd be Forsberg, but it probably will be Jeff Glass. That's still up in the air. There's too many things up in the air for this Hawks team right now. So I don't see them making a run at anything toward a playoff run, even though they're still right in the middle of the mix in the wild card race. But they keep finding ways to play themselves out of games they need to win. That being said, tonight they're playing a Detroit team that, after the win against the Hawks a few days ago, they haven't really done much of anything. They've lost 3 of the last 4. Like I said, not worth laying a price at these guys at home. It's the game. I'm not going to be touching it at all. But this is a game where the Hawks really need to find a way to wake the fuck up. I mean, that's plain and simple. However that happens, Patrick Kane can't do it all. The secondary scoring that had been so big even earlier in the year, times where they were winning games, has completely fallen asleep. We've seen key defensemen like Brent Seabrook just making complete total errors and mistakes in his own zone. The guys just aren't doing things the right way. They have to simplify everything on the power play, penalty killing, neutral zone passing. They just got to simplify everything and start from scratch and try and build forward. That's the only thing you can do now at this point with, how many, 30 something games left on the year. Try to make things at least as tight as possible. Maybe disrupt some teams, maybe pick up a few points here and there. But other than that, like I said, this is a Hawks team that's pretty much going to be going nowhere, but hopefully they can get a win tonight against their hated rivals in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, they get Brandon Saad back, and now he's on pace to be way below his career average in terms of points. So that tells you all you need to know, basically, about some of the things that have gone wrong for them this season. And Brent Seabrook, you're right, he's had a little bit of a tough time. I mean, last night he gets victimized by a so-called icing call that he thought was coming that was not called, that led to the Leafs' first goal of that game against Jay. And he does have a beef. I think he does have an argument, but at the same point in time, you can't just ease up like that. unless you actually hear a whistle, you got to keep going. You just can't stop like he did. You got to keep playing through it. And he was victimized by that. He didn't, and as a result, Toronto keeps the play in the zone, ties the game, and that kind of got them going a little bit because Chicago was crushing Toronto in that first period before that goal. It could have been 2-3, 4-0. There were a couple posts. Anderson made some big saves, and next thing you know, now Brent Seabrook falls asleep, albeit it was a little bit of a bad call, but he also fell asleep. You can't just stop dead thinking and assuming it's going to be icing, and he did that. Toronto ties it up, and that gets them back in the game, and of course they win in overtime. So there's issues. We'll see if they can do anything about it tonight in Detroit. What's Dana Lane think? Can Chicago do anything about it tonight in Detroit? Because this is one of his games. Dana, what are you looking at?
Well, I think you got to lay off of Seabrook a little bit. I mean, after all, he's a sniper and a goal scorer, so he's working. He's worried about his offensive game a lot more than he's worried about his defensive game. And boy, is he a guy to lean on offensively. But as far as this is concerned, look, you're coming off. You're in the second of back-to-back games. Then you play that game in overtime. Then you have to go and get on a plane to Detroit. Yeah, I mean, I'll take my chances with the Wings, who were completely off yesterday and should be rested going into this game. I like the way Detroit's been playing defensively the last couple weeks. Their last 6 games, they've given up just 14 goals, much better than Chicago, who's given up 3 goals over that, or who has given up over 3 goals a game during that same span. And of course, a lot has to do with Corey Crawford. You need to listen to Joe Quenneville last night, and Quenneville says, he seems to be optimistic. He, in fact, I know Crawford was on the ice doing, it was very similar to what Marc-Andre Fleury was doing a couple weeks prior to him coming back, just doing some ice work, just trying to get into the flow of things. And if it's my guess, I mean, he's still at least 2 to 3 weeks away if I'm going to equate what he did versus what Marc-Andre Fleury did. But I think you'll still see Crawford again this season. But of course, those things are funny, and you could feel good one day and wake up the next not feeling very good. But in the meantime, we're left with Anton Forsberg, and we know that to go along with his over 3 goals against average, his record is horrific, and I like my chances with Detroit in this situation. They're rested, Chicago's not, and I only have to lay $1.20.
All right, Detroit to keep the woes going for Chicago tonight at -120. It was what you can get at Heritage, so that looks like the best priced out there with the Detroit Red Wings. The rested, they do have the rest advantage, no question, heading into this game.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.